Ladies and gentlemen, I am here. It is myself, Austin Reed, aka Brandon Ross, and this podcast is finally starting, and I'm here with none other than, in my opinion, one of the best guys in car right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we have M Accuracy, aka Steve Nemesis, or whatever you want to call him. We have the man himself right here, right now. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, but your comments may lead to some people labeling you as a circle jerker. So, good job.
Oh, Lord. Well, I mean, I think everyone in car already has that label at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, right into the questions. First of all, you have plenty of gimmicks. I may say so myself, and you do all of them very well. Let me ask you,
Thank you.
you're welcome, what is your favorite one to do out of all of them personally?
Holy shit. Well, you said all characters, so this is going to range into all different call leagues, but obviously the M Accuracy character would be the one that I like to do the best because out of all of the characters, I've had the most creative freedom with M Accuracy, and to be quite frank, this current M Accuracy gimmick that I'm doing was actually created by accident. If you want me to elaborate on that.
Yeah, how was it created by accident? Because it turned out so well and it's so over. Like, how could something that great be created by accident?
Well, it's a long story, but since this is a podcast, we can go however fuck long. We can go as long as how long the fucking it takes to translate the Rosetta Stone, but okay. So, when COH started, this is right after the whole David and Travis fell out. I didn't know if I was going to be in COH, because I was still on good terms with Travis, obviously.
Right.
And he wanted me to be more like a Chuck Taylor type character when signing with him. But
Interesting.
at the time, I was really high on R-Truth. I loved R-Truth. That was when he was doing the whole conspiracy, Little Jimmy bullshit.
I'm a big fan myself.
Yeah, and I wanted to do that. I wanted to do that. And he was not high on it, but he let me go for it. And so therefore I did the role, and he was convinced. He was convinced that I can perform this gimmick. Well then, 2012 comes, and Justin Bateman wants to feud with me. And obviously he's the champion at the time, so we get into this big feud for the title. It was the big feud for 2012 for COH. But I think it was Justin, actually, who actually suggested, you know what, I think M Accuracy should actually win the title. And make it sort of like a scenario where, even though I'm the one complaining about conspiracies, you know what, maybe the guy who's behind the conspiracy that he's talking about is him all along. So I said, okay, that sounds good, but even if we didn't go that route, I felt like if I won the title, which I was never supposed to win anyways, because Travis wanted to create young guys, he didn't want, or excuse me, I should say, I didn't want to continue the R-Truth gimmick if I won the title, because then where can you go from there? I mean, the only thing I can do is say that, oh, there's conspiracies, like, harping on to me and trying to take my title.
Right, because, like, what's the conspiracy? You won the title. Like, you clearly overcame it.
Right, but, so I decided, you know, what I'll do is I'll try and think of something different. Like, I didn't know where I would go with it, but I said, let's try some face paint, trying to add a little bit more of a darkness to this character.
Mm-hmm.
And you can watch the early promos. I'm more calm in those than I am in the later ones where I'm really screaming off the top of my lungs. But it was obviously, like every gimmick that ever is done, it's like the groundwork, the sketch to what is going to become the full picture later on. And I think my feud with Zayn kind of solidified who this guy is. And like I said, I take extra care of this character because I've said before, I don't want any religious iconography, if that's such a word, with this character. I don't want there to be a reason with this character as to why he's this way. I want there to be a complete mystery. He wasn't abused. He wasn't bullied. He was just snapped one day, and nobody can figure out why. Because to me, that is scary. Because if somebody has a reason, you can tackle that reason with, oh, I know what you're going through. I went through the same shit. How can you talk to somebody when you don't know their motives? They're just naturally crazy. Mm-hmm. So I find that interesting. And one more point before we continue, but a lot of people always try to ask the different types of heels, who's better, me or Alex. I've always said me and Alex are two different heels. Like, Alex is the heel that you want to punch in the fucking face because he's an asshole.
Yeah.
But I'm the type of heel that makes you go, this guy's fucking nuts. What is he going to do next?
Yeah.
And I think that's what's the difference between me and him, if anybody ever asks who's the better of the two. But that's my opinion.
Right, and speaking of accuracy and, going nuts, you're feuding with one of the biggest faces in car right now, the Goonie. May I ask you, this is such a big storyline, and it has such a creative edge. Whose idea was it to come up with the Goonie killing a child? Like, whose idea was it to create this whole storyline? Because it's doing such a great job right now.
You're talking to that sick fuck that created the storyline. Okay, so, I'm probably going to add more fuel to the fire to all the people who think that I rule Travis, or I've got Travis by the fucking ball sack or something. But, I like to pitch ideas to Travis. My way of trying to pitch ideas to Travis is, I'll tell him, can I feud with this guy? What is this guy doing? Let me try and feud with this guy. And then when I confirm with the person that I'm feuding with, I like to talk to the person that I'm feuding with. I say, what can we do to really spice up this feud? That's been my mentality. And with Goonie, it was kind of hard because originally, believe it or not, this was the original plan. In New Orleans, he was supposed to come to WrestleMania. We were going to do this idea that I had come up with. If anybody watches Ring of Honor, the feud with Colt Cabana and Homicide. It was considered one of the most blood feuds of all time in that company. The one thing that they did that really spiced up the feud was that Homicide forced Colt Cabana to drink drainer fluid. And what we were going to do was me and Alex were going to kidnap Goonie the same way that we kidnap Zane and just make him drink drainer fluid and have him go to the hospital and this, that, and the other. Unfortunately, Goonie, being Goonie, said he couldn't make it because of the house that he's making. By the way, I love you, Goonie. But so we had to come up with a new plan, and it had to be something that would really get people talking about this feud. So I thought maybe we should do something like a secret, like I have a secret of his that he doesn't want to reveal. But what I wanted to do was I didn't want to reveal it right away. I wanted people to really eat it up. So when I came back, because I was told I was going to take a hiatus, so I wasn't around for the first two CPVs. So I decided, how about I announced that I'm going to talk about a secret about Goonie, and then just give it some time. Like say, all right, I won't reveal it this week. I'll reveal it next week, and I want you to think about it. And trust me, when I reveal it, it's going to shock the world. Originally, I wanted to book it as, I'm going to do something so bad, but I'm not even going to be able to touch you and still be able to destroy you mentally.
Right.
But, so anyways, then I said, why don't we have him attack me every time I'm about to reveal the secret or something just happens. And then when time comes, when we've really built up the anticipation, then we reveal the secret. But the secret basically was that, why don't we have it so that Goonie did something, but we could still feel sympathetic towards him. It's something so fucking horrible, but we still feel for him. And it had to be something different. Now, many people could compare this to the Katie Vick storyline, but the way I see it is that they're both, it's inspired, you can say, but I wouldn't say it's a direct copy because the storyline with Katie Vick was Kane dated this girl, they both got into a car crash and it accidentally killed Katie Vick. I was thinking along the lines of he ran somebody over. But how fucked up would it be if he ran over a child? I mean, that's some fucked up shit. And I wanted Goonie, excuse me, I wanted Goonie to be a sympathetic face still. Because running over a child, oh my god, that's wow, you're an evil, wretched person. So I thought, why don't we make it so that it was an accident, and Goonie went to the hospital to comfort the child. And sadly enough, the child dies. Now, there's been changes along the way, like Goonie said that it was years ago before he came to COH that it happened. I wanted it to be, right before Ready to Rumble that this happened. this whole entire scenario where he ran over the kid. But it's neither here nor there. The storyline still clicks. Everybody loves it. The other truth be told is that Goonie has been down on himself, saying that he hasn't done well in this feud. To me, he's done pretty well, especially if you watch the latest promo. So. Yeah, especially if you watch the latest promo.
So, if we are going to move on to the next question, this one might upset you in a way, but it's a shoot page, what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you have been accused, I'm sure, plenty of times for being the Patriot. Great character, but there's no chance in hell that you are the Patriot. So let me get your thoughts on all the rumors, and who do you think is the Patriot? Because it's clearly not you. Clearly.
Well, I couldn't tell you who the Patriot is. I'll give you something about the Patriot. He started in 2009, and I think that's where this whole storyline with him is really starting to take full force, with him never winning a world title. It's because he's been in cause since 2009, and he's never won a world title. And I can tell you this. He is very energetic. He's very out there. He's very funny. I don't claim to be him because I'm not him. I'm not as big as him. See, that's the thing. The size. I'm 5'10", 5'11", and I'm 120-something pounds. I'm very thin. The Patriot is about 6'6". He's about 270, 280 pounds. He's a big dude.
Big guy.
He's a big guy. Now, there's been one guy who's always wanted to meet me. And his name is Capital Dude, or Mitchell, or what is he called in YW?
Friends with him. Capital Dude.
Oh, that's his. Okay. Yeah, you're right, Capital Dude. I think he's the Patriot, personally. Because every time I come into a call, he always tells me, "You are indeed the Patriot." And I was like, no, but
that is definitely Mitchell.
You are big. You're a football player. I mean, granted, you're not 6'6", as you claim, but you're energetic. You talk very fast. And that's not to put down Capital Dude. It's just how it's
right.
The way he
very
is.
Good friends with him. It's very true.
But I think he's the Patriot, to be honest.
And I'm actually going to talk to him later. I'll get his input on that. That is a very bold statement. But back to storylines. You've been in plenty of great storylines. Out of every single one, YWF, COH, if you were to tell people this is what M Accuracy or Steve Nemesis or what Steve is about, what is the one feud that stands out in your mind?
Oh, that's pretty fucking easy. That would be my feud with Zayn. I don't know if you plan to ask me that later on. If that's one of your questions.
No, it actually wasn't. But
okay. I guess I'll talk about that. Funny, that is the feud that describes my career as M Accuracy career, quote unquote. This is fake wrestling. That would be the feud that really took off. Funny when we mention that. That's a feud that was never supposed to happen, to be honest.
Right.
That was a feud that was created on the spot. I don't know if I guess I'll go back memory lane. It was December 2012. I was attending 2 wrestling shows that day. It was an ROH Final Battle and WWE TLC. That was the show with the Shield debuting against Ryback and Hell No. And I remember saying to Stu, because I usually buy 2 tickets, and I need someone to sit with me, and Stu sat with me for both events.
Right.
And obviously, there was some promo cutting. Patriot came along out of nowhere and cut a promo outside. That was just to finish off his...
Just flew out of nowhere.
Yeah, he came out of nowhere. I don't know where he came from, but... Anyways, so after that was all said and done, we watched TLC, we had a good time. We were in the subway, and I was like, you know what? Take the camera out. And we had Stuart cut this promo with the internet title. He had just won it. And I come in, and we have our little promo back off. And I said something along the lines of, what would happen if I came over and snatched away your internet championship? At the time, I just said it. I didn't know where the fuck I was going with it, but it actually was a blessing in disguise, because coming into 2013, we have the idea of how to spice up the feud with me and Stu, because the OBN angle happened. And the OBN angle was going to completely overshadow our angle. Right. And the OBN angle started really hot, so that's the other thing too. And we needed at least one thing to be able to compete with the OBN angle, because otherwise everything else would have been slaughtered. Mm-hmm. So I don't remember exactly where I was or how it came about, but we came up with an angle to kidnap Zane, me and Alex, to kidnap Zane. And the idea was that we were going to steal the internet title and just give it to Alex. And that's when I came up with the concept. That's why I mentioned why if I came over and snatched away your internet title. Now it all makes sense. So we cut a couple of the promos, and obviously leading up into that kidnapping where my character started to really flourish. And I guess I'll give you a little bit of, or a couple of tidbits, if you will. Yep. We shot one of them. One of the promos, if you remember that episode. The one promo where he's just talking, he walks away, and then me and Alex come in and say, where is he going? That was shot in Central Park. Mm-hmm. That was everybody. Everybody was there, yada, yada, yada. The second one where Stu's in the White Castle, and he's talking, and then we just appear out of nowhere and walk after him, that was shot at White Castle in New York right after the infamous Raw. It was like maybe an hour or two after the infamous Raw that we attended. Then you see a clip of us, like, from far away beating them up. That's actually near where I live. That block is near where I live. I'm not going to give away where I live, because that's none of your fucking business.
Right.
But yeah, that was shot. But the funny thing is, while we're beating them up, Travis had the camera. He had it set on the back of a truck. It wasn't our truck. It was just a random truck. And by the end of the clip, the camera falls into the trunk.
What?
That was funny. I didn't notice it until after we stopped recording. And the final clip, which is the actual kidnapping, there's points in it where when Stu's like trying to get out, he actually kicks me right in the fucking chest. and it hurt, because the motherfucker's a soccer player. And before I know it, we recorded some more promos later that night. That actually, the one where we did the kidnapping, that was recorded days before that. That was recorded on a Wednesday. It was like, I can't remember the exact date, but Alex and Stu were the only ones that had arrived in New York yet for WrestleMania weekend, and we just recorded that day. So, yeah, that was recorded on a Wednesday. Everything else was on Monday going into Tuesday. So, and as far as that feud goes, it really solidified my my character, and it solidified Stu as a main eventer.
Right.
And yeah, that was the feud that pretty much took over 2013 for me, other than the OBN angle. Which, right. That's a whole nother story.
Right. Now, moving on. Now, you were both a part, and you still are part of both COH and YWF. May I ask you, what are and this is the shoot page, you're not going to get in trouble by nobody, you can say whatever the fuck you want. So, in your opinion, give me some pros and cons on COH and YWF, because I'm a part of both myself.
Well, first off, I'm not afraid of offending anybody.
Good for you. Good for you.
It just all depends on how you take it.
Exactly.
I don't hate let me clarify, I don't hate anybody. I may dislike somebody, but hate is a strong word, and I have fun with anybody, no matter what.
Right.
Okay, so you asked me the pros. I guess I'll start with COH, since my knowledge is more on that promotion than it is on YWF. The pros, the one thing I could say is Travis is one of the most easygoing people you'll ever talk to.
Without a doubt.
He is one of the most chilled, laid back. I don't say that enough. I don't compliment Travis enough, but Travis is very easy, understanding, and if he doesn't like an idea, he's willing to talk it out with you. He's not going to just sit there and completely deny it and keep it headstrong. He's going to at least listen to you, see if we can, you and him could come to a compromise. That's one thing. Another thing is very flourished roster. He has a very, a large roster of people that are very dedicated to their characters. That's very rare. You don't see a promotion with a lot of people cutting promos, but you do in COH. It's almost become its own entity, if you will.
Yeah.
The editing is pretty good. I wouldn't call it amazing, but then again, that's not on Travis's fault. That's pretty much the game. you can only do so much.
Yeah.
The matches, he gives matches time. Some of them, well, I'll explain that in the cons, but there are matches when they deserve time, he gives it to them. Like, if for example, me and my match with Stu, that went on for like a good 23 minutes, which is what it's supposed to do. He gave my match with Bateman a good 30 to 40. While the match wasn't as great as my match with Zayn, he still gave it the proper time, because that was a feud like almost 2 years in the making. That and I'm talking about my match at Ultimate Glory 3, by the way.
Yeah.
Like I said, very understanding. Any other? That's good storylines. He's got a lot of good people on his side. The cons, there are some matches that I think that deserve time and don't, like the match with Alex and Caleb. I thought that was going to go at least 20 minutes and only went like 12 or 13. I thought that was a little but that's just my opinion. Some of the people that he has, sometimes Travis can give people too much hope. He gave Garnet Court way too much hope.
Right, you ain't kidding.
Don't get me wrong, I understand completely where he's coming from. I mean, everybody improves within time. Lester Barkley is a prime example of that. I'm very shocked at the momentum he's getting now. So, and more power to Lester. He's very dedicated.
Very nice guy as well, I may add.
So sometimes my ideas don't get listened to. Like, one idea actually involves you.
Really?
Was for Rap Metal to go heel. I thought Rap Metal, the one thing that Rap Metal should do if they stick together, is obviously you're the smaller guy who should do all the shit talking, and Levi's supposed to be the killer. I thought it would be great for you to go in the ring, just talk so much shit, just be the biggest loudmouth, the motor mouth that you're supposed to be.
It's what I'm good at, man.
Then the guy tries to attack you, and then Levi just knocks him out.
Right. He's just beating the fuck out of him. I was like, pussy, that's what happens. We're Rap Metal, like, just...
And there you go. Like you should act scared when it looks like they're about to attack you, but then Levi just goes and knocks him out. I think that would be a perfect duo. And that's a big gripe I have with Levi, and I like Levi as a person, but one thing is his character should not be talking so much.
Actually, may I interrupt you?
Go ahead.
We have a new promo for Anniversary. I have 2 minutes. He has 30 seconds. I'm not spoiling anything. We have worked on it. We have a full grasp of what Rap Metal is going to be. And you do have a good point, but we know our plans. And actually, if our plans were different, I'm not going to spoil them on my talk show, obviously. But if we had 2 years as a team, we would definitely do that. No doubt in my mind.
Right. And to be quite frank, if Carl Jams is still around, I mean, obviously plans are different because I already know what Patriot's going to be doing in 2015, so it's not going to be plausible. But I was hoping for like Rap Metal and Team Yesbeer to feud throughout the year. I mean, they've had their match, but
this was a great match. That was one of my favorite matches I've ever had.
Right, and was that before they lost the titles, or it was before they lost the titles. Yeah, okay, People Power. That was because I'm trying to remember if they lost the tag titles the first time because they were champions twice. Yeah. But anyways, those would be my cons. Match length sometimes could be a little bit iffy. He has a lot of guys, but some of them really need improvement. That's really not on Travis's behalf.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name anybody specifically on here unless asked, because there's just so many to name. One person in particular or two people in particular that I think Travis has done an injustice to. I don't know why they're still in Slam. Would be I don't know the tag team name, but Nitro and Rucker. They should be on Battleground.
Both. I'm very big fan of both of them, and I know Nitro's plans. I'm not going to spoil them on here, but I wish Don would do more because he's fantastic in my opinion. Right. Big shout out to Don. He is a great guy and a great talent. And Nitro, his future is very, very bright. That's for sure.
Yeah, I've been a big advocate of Nitros for quite some time. So, because I've known Nitro for quite a few years, even before he came to COH. And I was shocked to know he's 15. I think he's 15 or 16.
I did not even know that. That boggles my mind that I'm older than him if he is 15. But
he's very young, and he doesn't even sound young.
I thought he was like 19. This is news to me.
Yeah, he's very young. I was very shocked to hear that. But yeah, that's an injustice. They should be on Battleground. Especially Rucker, because again, going back to Rucker, I was listening to his commentary with Gluteus on Slam, and he is one funny motherfucker.
He is.
His character's not going to win any world titles based on how it is, but that's just all dependent on Don and how he formulates his character.
Yeah.
But that's just
the skill is there.
But yeah, definitely the skill is definitely there. And I know he's going to turn Slam into a second brand show, which at first I was kind of like, eh. I thought having a developmental brand was good, but that's Travis wants to do a second brand, which is good because I already know what's going to happen on that brand, or at least to one of the guys. But that's neither here nor there. And yeah, I really can't complain much about COH. I enjoy it.
Yep.
So much so. YWF. The pros. The pros are that Marco, he's not, how can I say? He's not as understanding as Travis, but he's not as bullheaded as David. So he's somewhere in the middle. So I can pitch ideas to him. He'll listen to them here and there. The editing has improved greatly. He's got good main event talent like Mocha Bane and Chronix. They're two of the best that he has. I would say recently, they were very consistent with uploading shows. I don't know what's going on. As of recent, I haven't been told anything. If you have information, let me know. But I've not been told anything by Marco nor Chronix.
And just about the product and when it's coming back?
Right, I don't know what's going on. I've been told is YWF dead, and I can't answer the question because
I hope not, because man, there's so many guys, including me, and I'm assuming myself, and of course other people who just have such big plans, and it'd just be a damn shame for all those plans to just get destroyed right now. And I think that the product is doing really good as well. So, right. But I don't think it's dead.
Right, and I was liking the storylines that I was in, the one with Chronix, because I thought me and Chronix had good chemistry, or at least in my opinion. I don't know what Chronix thinks, but and I like the idea that they had with Patriot, which was, it's pretty obvious what they were going for, so I don't think I'm spoiling anything. But if I am, I apologize. Patriot gets fired. You've seen the promo. He got fired by Marco. They bring in this guy named Jonathan Justice. He's taken over. They boo him. They want the Patriot. They go on for however long it is, and Patriot eventually comes back. However that is going to be done would be up to them, and Patriot challenges Jonathan Justice. I think it's a really wonderfully done, or at least a decent idea of a storyline. Yeah. So, as far as ideas, they are creative. The pregnancy angle with Raven Lopez, that's it's a little too much as far as like an angle. And when I say too much, I mean like there's not enough of it's like when Mae Young gave birth to a ham. Where are they going to go with it? Like, there's no feud, there's no match to be built off of that.
It was just like, all right, we're going to have one really cool, funny moment. After that, it's just nothing.
I'll give them this. They did create a match out of it. It was Marcel Muhammad and Amazing Punk. The downside is their matches are way too short.
All right, I like to say this myself. I don't mean to toot my own horn. I was in the main event of CyberSlam against AM Punk for the Internet title. My match was less than 3.5 minutes. What the fuck?
And Seth's match, Seth McInerney with Chronix. See, that's the thing.
Same length.
I think the biggest negative about that match was not the ending, because the ending was done.
That was the best part of the match.
Yeah, this is a pro for YWF. That was wonderful booking. I come in a limo. Nobody knows it's me. It looks like Seth's going to get screwed like it was predicted. But then I come out and I come to save the day, and then Seth wins the title. I thought it was a wonderfully booked and wonderfully edited ending. The problem is, if this was COH, that match would have at least went 15, 20 minutes.
At least.
At least. And again, not to knock on YWF, I sort of see what they're saying. They don't want the shows to drag. All right, but sometimes when you have a big match, you should give it time.
Yeah.
That's always been my philosophy when I was running SWA, was that if the match means something, it should be given time. Like,
Yeah.
just a prime example, and I still have the show on my computer. My WrestleMania, the main event was Kevin Cross, or in company that I made, it was Nick Gabriel, versus Rick Cage versus Morris for the SWA title. Morris was the champion. And the whole storyline was that Morris's faction, the YTCW Revolution, came to destroy SWA whole. Rick Cage was part of the New Religion or the YLLWA Rejects. That was another conflict because back then it was YTCW, YLWA, and SWA. And basically they were there to stop the revolution, but at the same time not help SWA. They were just trying to be the red herring to YTCW.
Right.
So Morris is the champion. Rick Cage had won the Royal Rumble, so he had a shot at the title. But at the same time, we all thought that was going to be the main event, Rick Cage and Morris. But now there's no SWA guy. And the SWA guy would be Nick Gabriel because he had money in the bank and he was cashing it in. And we built the story to where if Morris won, David, who was the manager for YTCW Revolution, would take over SWA and swallow it whole. And everybody else would be gone. Or, excuse me, he would win, YLWA Rejects had to disband, and Gluteus Maximus, who was the on-screen boss, would be fired. If Rick Cage won, AG Vito, who was the manager for YLWA Rejects, would take over, YTCW would be gone, and Gluteus would be out of power. If Nick Gabriel won, Gluteus stays in power and everybody else goes. That match went 35 minutes. I kid you not.
Wow.
35 minutes, and I recorded it all myself. In other words, I played all three guys. I had all three controllers.
Wow.
Because you cannot trust AI. And after that long clusterfuck of a story that I had to talk about, that's my point, is that if the match means something, let it go long. Another match on that show, Patriot and Gilbert Blaze. They'd been going after each other for years. Patriot's hatred for him when Patriot was heel was that he was gay, and he made fun of his homosexuality because he's supposed to be old school.
Right.
They
Very much
never...
like Austin Reed and Kerry Perry.
In a way, I guess you could say.
Just because,
But
gay.
the feud had been put off. Yeah, the feud had been put off for a while. They made a U-turn. Gilbert became heel and Patriot became face because Gilbert was a part of the Revolution, and Patriot was representing SWA. That match went about 30 minutes, and they fucking destroyed each other. And when I was told by Stewart himself that it was the best match on the show. Mm-hmm. And my point is, after telling that long clusterfuck, is that for YWF, alright, you don't need to have every match go over 10 minutes, I understand. But some big matches, like your match with Seth and Chronix, that should have won at least 15, 20 minutes, in my opinion. But that's just how I would say. There's nothing really other to complain about, other than... Oh, and some storylines are a little bit contrived, like the Raven Lopez one was like, my biggest complaint about Raven Lopez revealing that she was pregnant was that there was no build-up to it. She just, if it were me, I would have had Raven come out and say, listen, I know this is the biggest CPV of the year, but I have something to say. I've been working hard to become the women's champion and so and so and so. So with that, I have to announce that I am pregnant. Build it up. Yeah. Instead of just saying outright, I'm pregnant. And then
it was kind of like, add guilty as charged, I'm going to announce who the baby daddy is. What the fuck?
That's the greatest storytellers kind of suck you into the moment. If you remember Ric Flair, in 2007, this is when he had just come back. He was kind of teasing to people that he was going to retire, but he kept saying, I wrestled for 30 years, this, that, the other. So now, I have to announce to you, and just letting the crowd build it up, and they're like, no, he's not going to say it. And then he screams, that I will never retire! And then have the crowd pop. He gave the crowd enough time so that when he reacted or said what he had to say, the crowd popped.
Yeah.
And they were happy. You need to build up the crowd so that they pop. And kind of similar to what I was doing with the Goonie thing. Give the crowd, build them up, and then when you finally say it, they pop. So, that's just my opinion.
Now, continuing on about COH and YWF, there was a COH versus YWF show. Now, I think as everyone knows, there was a little bit of beef between COH and YWF. I'm sure it's dead now. But do you think that there are any good chances of another COH versus YWF show? And if there is, what are some dream matches for COH and YWF?
it's tough. Not because of there being animosity, but because we still don't know the status of YWF right now.
Right.
I don't talk to Marco and Chronix on too much of a regular basis. I did meet them in New Orleans. Cool guys. Have no complaints about them. Well, actually, that was the second time I met Marco. First time was in New York during WrestleMania weekend for 29. I have no complaints about either or. I just wish I would know, hey, what's going on? Is YWF dead? Is it on hiatus? Whatever. Now, your question is, do you think it's ever going to happen? It's possible.
Right.
It just depends on Marco and what his status is. So, dream matches? The dream matches would be a little bit weird.
All right, well, it's your opinion. Go ahead.
I would say weird. One would be AM Punk versus Amir McDermott.
Oh, for the love of God.
I know. I'm not going to say anything. I'm actually trying to be mutual with Amir, so I'm not going to insult him. I'm going to just... We're trying to work things out, so right. I'm gonna keep my silence on that. I would say Chronix versus Justin Bateman would be interesting.
Yep.
That would be a very interesting match. Mm-hmm. Seth McInerney versus M Accuracy.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. Who the fuck else? My mind's going blank right now. Here's an interesting one. Austin Reed versus Nate the Great.
Really?
Two full themselves characters. Well, Nate the Great's supposed to be a face now, but
I'm actually supposed to be a face too. But
yeah, that's right. You just turned face. I can't believe I forgot about that. Is there any other matches? Oh, actually, let me take back a statement. Seth McInerney versus Alex Enterprise.
That's interesting. Here's one. Who's a good opponent for Mocha Bane? If I say so myself, I say Mocha Bane versus Scott Adams would be pretty entertaining for on the mic. But,
Mocha Bane. That's a good one. Subliminally, I've been pushing for a match with Mocha Bane. Steve Nemesis, that is. I don't know if that's registered or not, but I've been saying, I want to face Mocha Bane for the world title. Whether I win or not is a whole different issue. Wow. Mocha Bane, that's a good question. I hadn't even thought about that one. Wow. I would say Mocha Bane versus Nate the Great again.
So two Nate the Great matches.
Yeah, it's kind of like they have similar personalities in a way. That's a real good question, because when you're booking a match, you're trying to figure out what would mesh well, and again, Mocha Bane needs, since he's a heel, somebody to complement his style. So it can't be somebody that just seems so random. And it has to be a match that people want to see. And I think Seth McInerney and Alex Enterprise would be a match people want to see.
Yeah.
So.
Moving on. Now, you've been in CAW for a while. Mm-hmm. And I think you've seen a good amount of people, good, bad, in the middle. If you were to say the future guys of CAW, the guys that once, you are gone, that will take over, who would a few guys be?
Well, I know just based on dedication from what I've seen, Lester Barkley is definitely one that's just really dedicated.
Right.
I've been an advocate for Nitro, and always have been. And I say Nitro, if he can stay dedicated, he has a chance. Because there's always, as much as I've been an advocate for Nitro, he also has some room for improvement. He can always improve his character within time, like give it more flair, if you will. As of right now, I could see, if Rap Metal eventually wins the tag team titles, them dominating the tag team division. If it were me, I would say Rap Metal would dominate the tag team division, whichever brand they're on, for the whole year before they lose.
Right.
'Cause
I
again,
appreciate that.
well, again, if this was me booking, I would do the idea that I had earlier was to turn you guys heel and just have Levi just be a destroyer and you being the shit talker. And then, by Ultimate Glory, we have to, but while we're building you up, we got to build another tag team up. And eventually, after they get Levi out of the mix, obviously you got to be the coward heel. They're like, no, don't beat me up, and then they finally kick your ass. If they were to go with that idea, I think you could be a top heel. But again, you need to, obviously, this is just coming from one call superstar to another. There's always room for improvement.
Yep.
You just gotta learn some insults, yada yada. I mean, you're the only guy in COH right now that has more of a hip hop lifestyle to him. So that's the one thing you got going for you, is you got a unique look. Scott Adams, I think, but Scott has been in it as long as I have. It's just that finally Scott is doing something.
Yeah.
He's always been more of the manager or behind the scenes guy before COH came along. Who else? I'm thinking young here, so we're gonna go with younger talent. Here's another guy that I like, but he needs to get more dedicated. Kenyon Phoenix.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that.
I like Kenyon. I liked him as Atticus Marks. I like him as Kenyon. He just gotta get dedicated. And, yeah, that's, no other names are coming to mind right now, but I'm sure there's others.
Yeah, those are the main ones.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Back to MXC. Now, this is a very, I want to say a little bit of Heath Ledger-esque type character with some Dean Ambrose, but with your own little twist. Who inspires the MXC character?
Yeah, Heath Ledger's more of the inspiration.
Yeah.
I would say there's actually some Bray Wyatt sprinkled into it.
Mm-hmm.
With the whole, sometimes talking in code. But when he talks in code, you kind of understand what he's saying. Whereas Bray Wyatt, you kind of have to like sit there and say, what does he mean by that?
Yeah.
It's definitely Heath Ledger inspired by all means. Some of the promos, yes, I took some ideas from Dean Ambrose. One of them being the promo that I did after Anniversary last year, which was the one where we won the Chamber, me, Bateman, and Zane. Where I grabbed the girl by the head and started screaming in her ear and all that. That was actually taken from a promo that he did in the Indies as John Moxley.
Yeah.
I can't remember the promotion's name, but he was
I believe it was CZW.
No, it wasn't CZW.
It wasn't?
I think it was like IPW.
I think that was it.
He was feuding with Drake Younger.
Yeah.
Drake Younger is a CZW name. But he was feuding with him, and he had a match with him for the title, and he didn't win it. I can't remember how, because I wasn't watching Dean Ambrose by that point. But he did this promo where some woman interviewer was like wanting to know his thoughts, and he did exactly what I did. He got upset. Well, not upset, but he grabbed the girl by the hair, started saying some weird shit, and started acting really creepy. So I thought that was good. I know when I showed that to Alex wanted to take that idea, but I told him, I asked him one simple question, and he automatically knew where I was going with it. It was like, who do you see doing that more? Alex Enterprise or M Accuracy? And he just sat there and said, good point. So,
yeah,
it is what it is. I'm a big Dean Ambrose fan, so like that's so hard to believe. Yeah. But I again, by 2015, once Travis moves to the new gen console, tiny bit of a spoiler here, there's going to be a character shift in M Accuracy that you'll see pretty soon. I'm not gonna spoil what, but you'll see something different out of him because, like I said, I like to evolve my characters, so, and he's gonna be one of them, definitely.
All right, so we're on to our final question. It is a very, very, very important question. It has been trending for quite some time now. Okay. Steve, how big is Gluteus Maximus's dick? That is the question.
That is an important question, isn't it?
It's very important.
All right. I've never seen it. because Gluteus, he don't like me too much.
I mean, if he did, I don't think he'd just whip it out in front of you and be like, "Yeah, yo, this is my dick."
No,
What's up?
although he does tell me that he fucked 72 virgins at once.
72.
72 all at once, and
All at once.
And he handed them to Ahmed, the dead terrorist.
Oh wow.
One thing I could say about Gluteus is he is huge. Whenever he cuts a promo, especially back in the day, he would come into my room from wherever, and he would look at me, and he would point to the door, and he would only say one word: out.
Wow.
And when he said that, you leave, because if you don't, he will kill you. All right. So the question was, how big is Gluteus Maximus' dick? I will answer this with only one question to you. How big is Kanye West's ego?
Ginormous.
You got your answer.
And there we go. That is the answer. Ladies and gentlemen, I was here with Steve Nemesis, Maxie, whatever you want to call him. Thank you so much for being on the show. This is the first episode, and I think we kicked it off great. Thank you once again. We'll be back next time with the Alex Enterprise. So thank you all for watching and listening. There will be a new episode soon. Thank you, Steve, and I'll see you next time.